have with us the 2021 Audi S5 Sportback, and in this video we're going to be giving you a detailed review of this car, talking about styling, obviously the performance for this car, then features, practicality, comfort, and last but not the least, the pricing of this car. And also we are going to be talking about one key factor of this car, and that is this car the perfect sports sedan? And by that I actually mean that if you buy the Audi S5, can you travel with your family in this car, but also during the weekends can you go for a spirited drive in one? That is one question that we are going to be answering in this video. So without any further ado, let's get started. But first let's talk about the Audi S5. Just like any other S car, it is the performance variant of its A counterpart. For example, this Audi S5 is the performance version of the Audi A5. And the Audi S5 came out in the year 2007. But in India, it came out a whole decade after that. That's right, the Audi S5 was launched in India in the year 2017 when it came into its third generation. This right here, once again, is the third generation, but is a facelift of the previous version. And yes, before we start with the review, I would also like to thank Audi Chandigarh for lending me this car for a review. They have an amazing inventory of all the Audi cars and also pre-owned ones, which includes a blooming Audi R8. So it is pretty cool. You can check them out using the links in the description below. If you have any questions regarding the Audi S5 or any other Audi car for that matter, contact them using the links in the description below. Finally, with that said, now let's start with the style. So let's start off from the front end in this car, and from the first glance there really isn't much difference between the A5 and the S5, because again the S5 is a beefed up version of the A5 but in terms of performance. But still there are a few styling changes here and there, such as first off the metallic treatment in the S5. If you look at the grille in this car, it is completely chrome and metallic finished. If you look at this segment over the bumper, you can see it has some metal inserts around it. If you have a look at the front splitter in this car, it is completely chrome and metal finished. Whereas in the normal A5, you get a piano black finish over there, over the whole grille, over this segment, over on the splitter, everywhere it has a black or a piano black finish. But if we anyway talk about the visuals, starting off with the headlamps, they have a very aggressive and a sleek looking design, which gives this car a very smart appeal. But at the same time, it does have that aggressive factor to it, especially looking at the hood in this car. You have accentuating lines everywhere on the hood. On the bumper, it has a very aggressive design, which does tell a lot of the people on the road that you are looking at a sporty car. Just like in the front end of this car, when you come to the side profile, you are once again greeted with the S5 badge given on the front fender, which is right alongside the aggressive shoulder line in this car, which as you can see is accentuated by this aggressive lining. Now this characteristic has been seen in many latest Audi models. For example, if you look at the 2021 Audi A4, that also gets a very aggressive shoulder line, and so does the Audi S5. But a place where this car does get even more aggressive lining is around this portion over here. As you can see, around the side skirts of this car, around the bottom side of the door, you do get very aggressive lining around this car. Anyways, if you talk about some other things such as the alloy wheels, once again a very sportish and a smart design. They have 19-inch alloy wheels, which is expected for a sporty car. Bigger rims does mean a better driving experience. But one thing that in my personal opinion has been quite controversial, especially with this color of the Audi S5, that is the ORVM. The ORVM design, no doubt, is pretty cool, but the way that they've styled it with this metallic finish even on the ORVM, that is pretty controversial. I mean, personally, I'm not too much in the favor of it. What do you guys think? Tell me in the comments down below. And last but not the least, personally, one of my favorite things of the Audi S5 is the low form factor of this car, and especially the way this car looks in the side profile. Like, just to give you guys a comparison, I am 6'1", and when I come and stand next to the car, you can see that it is quite low, which does make this car look nicer. But in terms of comfort and practicality, that is something we will have to see in the comfort section of this video. Right now, let's move on to the back. So if you talk about the rear in this car and you compare it to the normal A5, the first difference you will see is of the tail lamps of this car. The tail lamps are a little bit different in the S5 compared to the A5, but this being the facelifted 2021 variant, maybe that's one of the reasons. We'll have to wait and see for the new version of the Audi A5 whether it gets the same tail lamps or not. But as of now, the tail lamp design for the S5 is different than the A5. And something that is also different is regarding this diffuser. The diffuser of the S5 is much more aggressive and visible compared to the Audi A5. Well, those are the only two differences that I could find. But if we talk about some styling cues such as the duck lip spoiler in this car looks very, very nice and sporty. The S5 badging given over here. We have the Audi 4 rings right center in the middle. We have quad exhaust in this car, which by the way do sound really, really nice. And that's pretty much it. But yes, there is one thing that I love about all Audi cars really, and that is the dynamic turn indicators. That is something that we also get in this car as well. And now for one of the most awaited parts of this video, which has to do with the performance of a performance car. Well, this time around, the Audi S5 gets a 3-liter twin turbocharged petrol engine in a V6 format. And it is capable of producing, wait for it, 354 brake horsepower and a maximum torque of 500 Newton meters. Those are humongous numbers. And it's because of these numbers that this car can sprint from 0 to 100 in mere 4.8 seconds. You have a sub 5-second car because of this engine, which is completely mind-blowing. And yes, being the S car, just like all other S cars, it is equipped with the quattro all-wheel drive system, which is 40-60 rear biased, which means 40% of the power is delivered to the front wheels and 60% to the rear wheels. And all of this has been coupled with an 8-speed torque converter gearbox, which means instantaneous shifts. Overall, in terms of performance, really, this car is a complete thumbs up. And if we talk about mileage, well, first of all, if you own an Audi S5, it really won't matter to you. But still, because we are talking about the perfect family sports sedan in this video, it still does matter. So this car has a claimed mileage of 11 kmpl, which is not bad considering the beast of an engine that this car has. So overall, I am pretty satisfied with what this car has to offer, especially in terms of performance. This car actually thrives in terms of performance. Now let's talk about features of the Audi S5. We first of all talked about the biggest feature of this car in the performance, that is the engine. But moving on, some other features in this car such as the headlamps. We get matrix LED headlamps in this car, which is the cutting edge Audi technology for lighting, which ensures that you get proper lighting conditions on the road while you're driving the Audi S5, even during the night time. So that is pretty cool. And another cool thing about these lights is that you also get the dynamic turn indicators that all Audis are essentially coming with these days, and they look really, really cool. If you see, the turn indicators in this car are actually sequential, not only in the front but also in the rear, and that alone gives this car a very, very nice look. Moving back further in this car, if we talk about the doors in this car, first of all, let's talk about the door handles. They do have that shape in which they look like they open sidewards, that they're hinged towards the side, but they're actually hinged on the top portion, which means that they open in a very unique and a weird way. Personally, I really like that. I even talked about this in my Audi A4 review, but seriously, I love the way that the door handles work in an Audi. But the second thing is, once the doors do open, you quickly realize that these are actually rimless doors, which not only make the car look nicer, but there actually is a safety precaution that needs to be taken in terms of giving rimless doors. Because there is no window sills around the windows in this car, if you close the door hard in this car, you may bash the windows. But there is a safety mechanism in place. Whenever you try to open the door of a rimless car, at that time, when you open the door handle, the window first slightly rolls down a little bit and then the door opens. Similarly, when you try to close the door closes and then the window rolls up. That is to prevent you from bashing the window to the door sills and breaking them. In my opinion, it's a pretty neat little trick. But moving inside the Audi S5, talking about features over here, we're going to start with the steering wheel. It is a beautiful leather wrapped steering wheel with a flat bottom and the Audi S5 badging given over here. It is a pretty opulent steering wheel, and the functioning of it is also very nice. It is a multi-functioning steering wheel. As you can see, we have buttons over here for controlling this display, we have buttons over here for controlling that display, and we also have paddle shifters in this car over here which have a very tactile feel to them, which do look nice. Now, I would have preferred if they had a metallic finish to it. It's a plasticky finish, but still they have a tactile feel which I really like. If we talk about this portion of the steering wheel which is used to control this display, this is the Audi virtual cockpit, which I have done a very detailed review of in a separate video. I will link that video in the description down below, or an information card on your displays right now. Go check that video out if you want a very detailed review of the Audi virtual cockpit. Now, there is a small little disclaimer over here that the Audi virtual cockpit that we reviewed was of the Audi Q8, which is a normal car and not a sporty car, due to which the graphics in that display will be a little different. All the functionality, all the features, they will remain the same, but the way it looks, just that is a little different. In that car, you get the dials like in any other normal car. You will get a tachometer in terms of a dial, you get the speedometer in terms of a dial, but in this car, being the sportier variant, they have given us different visual graphic in form of lines. As you can see, it's a straight line which represents the tachometer of this car, and there is a straight line which represents the speedometer of this car. The speedometer is also given in this digital readout over here, but the way they represent it, it is in the form of a straight line and not a dial. That is the only difference you get over here, but all the features will still remain the same. And speaking of displays, if we talk about the other display in this car, this is the updated Audi infotainment display. Once again, we've done a very detailed review of this display in a separate video. A link to that in the description down below, or an information card on your displays right now. Go check that out if you want a detailed review of this display. Now, the display will remain the same. Every single thing in this display will be the same that you get in the Audi Q8 as well, and all the other Audi models. If I just had to give a gist of this display, it is very responsive to the touch. It is very useful. It has a lot of features in it. You can know essentially anything about the car or any features, anything using this display. And it's fairly easy to use, which is one thing that every user looks for, and Audi has managed to accomplish that. Moving a little down over here, we have the AC controls in this car. Now, something that I do like in this car is that we have 3-zone climate controls, one for the driver, one for the passenger, and one for the rear seat passengers in the car as well. Now, why I specifically like this in this car is because, being a sports oriented car, they have still thought of the rear passengers, which is something that we look for if we talk about a family sports sedan. So as of now, the Audi S5 is doing very well when it comes to the sport sedan character. And to alter the driving experience of this car, drive select can be done from here. We have the traction control button over here, and the automatic start stop button over here, in which it realizes that the car is at a stoplight and it automatically stops the car in order to save fuel. So really, Audi has thought about everything in this car, and overall it is a great package deal. Now, starting off with the practicality, we're going to start with the glove box in this car, and as you can see, it is a fairly standard glove box. Very spacious for keeping a lot of stuff. We have a card holder over here, we have a pen holder over here, we have different coin slots over here for keeping your coins organized. So overall, it is a very organized and a well-spaced glove box. Moving to the center console in this car, we have 2 cup holders, out of which one has been used as the ashtray of the car, but you can take that out and then it reveals the 2 cup holders. We have a place over there for keeping your phone, along with a USB socket over there, along with a 12-volt charging socket over here for connectivity and charging your phone. Moving behind over here, we have this closable storage cubby, which is pretty small, but still you can keep some keys and coins over here as well. Now, I do call this small, but by far the smallest storage cubby in this car is given over here. I really don't know what this is for, but if you had like the smallest things that you wanted to keep, you essentially can over here. Now, last but not the least, for the front seats of this car, we have this armrest, which is adjustable, as you can see, and also height adjustable. But then you can open this, which reveals a very large storage cubby, which is quite deep and very spacious for keeping a lot of stuff. Then you also have this USB Type-C port for connectivity and a 12-volt charging socket, which also acts as a cigarette lighter for your car. Talking about door pockets in this car, we have a 1 liter bottle holder over here along with a very small storage cubby. Now you can keep some newspaper and magazines over there, but they have to be pretty squished in terms of doing that. Talking about the rear seat pockets for the car, once again we have a 1 liter bottle holder over here, but the rear storage cubby over here, that is pretty small. Now coming to the rear seats in this car, we get seat nets for the rear passenger and for the driver's side seat, as you can see. In the center console, sadly we do not get any kind of storage cubby. It's only a 12 volt charging socket for the connectivity in the car. But thankfully we do have this armrest over here which can be revealed like so, and then we have 2 cup holders which are really over engineered. Like seriously, they do look nice, but the engineering behind it, it's really cool. And then over here we also have this storage cubby which is not that deep, but it is pretty big. And now for one of the most important parts of our practicality session, which has to do with the trunk of this car. We have 3 ways to open it. First of all is the request sensor given underneath the trunk. We have the key fob of this car in which we have to press the button twice and the trunk opens. And last but not the least, we have a button on the driver's side door area. Anyways, let's open up this trunk. And being a Sportback, obviously it is an electronic tailgate, but also the rear windscreen of this car, that actually opens up alongside the trunk of this car, which is one of the characteristics of a Sportback design. But anyways, once the trunk does open, as you can see, it is a very large trunk. Easily, you can keep like 4 or 5 bags over here, go for a long road trip in the car without any problem. You have nets over here, as you can see, for organization. Over on the other side as well, you do get a small little net. And then you also have 4 hooks in this car, as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a net to tie down some things over here. So this net actually is very, very practical, so that under hard acceleration in this car, which this car is capable of, the things that are tied down, they won't be rolling back and forth, which is quite cool. And then last but not the least, for practicality, we also have this cargo tray in this car, which is pretty sturdy, so you can keep some stuff over here as well if you wanted to. Now time to talk about comfort in the Audi S5, because once again, being a sporty car, we still need to talk about if it's a family sports sedan. So comfort is going to be a major segment in this car. If we talk about my initial impressions, first of all, these leather and Alcantara seats, the hybrid version of them, they are pretty soft. I mean, they grip me in really well, especially that Alcantara is helping in gripping me in the seat so that I don't wobble around here and there in this car, which is really cool. Being the front seat, I can obviously move the seat back and forth using these electronic controls. I can adjust the backrest in this car. We also have electronic lumbar support in this car for both the driver and the passenger side seat in this car. Overall, I don't really think there is any kind of problem over here. In terms of headroom, because of the panoramic sunroof available in this car, I do get an extra 1.5–2 inches of headroom in this car. So I have about 3.5 inches of headroom with me, but obviously I can adjust them using the seat height in this car, and the legroom can also be adjusted however I want. And if we talk about some driver features such as controlling the steering wheel, we can move it in any direction I want, which is very nice, but it is still manual. I would have appreciated it if they would have given an electronic adjustable steering wheel, because given the price point of this car, they should have given that, but still at least they've given the feature. So overall, in the front seats of this car, I really don't think there is any kind of problem in terms of comfort. I'm pretty spacious over here. The seats are very comfortable, they're gripping me really well. So all the tick boxes that we require over here for a family sports sedan, it is fulfilling it as of now. Now let's see what the story is back there. Now that I'm in the rear seats of this car, first of all, I would like to tell you that the driver's seat, I was just sitting there, and the driver's seat has been adjusted according to a 6'1" driver, because I am 6'1", and when I come into the rear seats of this car, you can see I have about 4–4.5 inches of legroom in this car, which is very spacious. Talking about headroom, I have about 1.5 or 1 inch of headroom as well. Considering the Sportback design, and still that I'm 6'1", I'm pretty tall, still I'm getting 1–1.5 inch of headroom. That is pretty respectable, and I don't think anyone will have any kind of problem sitting back over here. The seat material is pretty much the same as the front ones. I mean, it's exactly the same. So the same Alcantara and leather hybrid seats are given back here as well. The Alcantara is helping in grip, so if my driver was actually doing some spirited driving, I won't be wobbling around here and there in the car. which is very nice. The seat material is also very soft and cushiony, so I get an immense amount of comfort as well. The only drawback over here I see is that the under thigh support is a little less. I mean, even if I wanted to stretch my legs, I am hitting those legs towards the bottom side to the driver's seat. So the under thigh support is the only thing that I find is a little lacking in this car. Other than that, it is perfect. If you move on to the middle seat in this car, the middle seat is completely leather. There is no Alcantara in the middle seat. So that does make it a little slipperier, but still not a deal breaker. The transmission tunnel in this car, that is pretty tall. So I have to keep one leg over here and one leg on this side of the car. So I have to split my legs. That is the only thing that I find in the middle seat as well. Overall, this car is pretty spacious and comfortable. I don't think that anyone sitting back over here is going to be complaining. Now for the final segment of this video, and that is the price tag of the new Audi S5. Now you can see the prices of the Audi S5 on your screens as of now. And having looked at a pretty detailed review of the car as of now, what do you think? Are the prices for the car justified or not? Tell me in the description of this video right now. As for my verdict on this car, and to answer the question that I asked in the very beginning of this car, that is the Audi S5 the perfect family sports car? Well, I would say yes. The sports car or sports sedan section was pretty much checked when I talked about the performance of this car. I mean, a sub 5-second car is pretty fast. I mean, you cannot deny that. So the performance and the styling segment of this car was enough for me to tell that yes, this is a very, very nice sports sedan. But when we talk about practicality and comfort, I can pretty much say that this car is also a good family car, because in terms of practicality, you have loads of cubbies here and there in the car in which you can store a lot of things, and the comfort of this car also is not bad at all. There are only a few nicks and cracks here and there, which I told you in the comfort section of this video as well. But to be very honest, no car is actually perfect, and those are the only few things that I found in the comfort segment as well. And those are so small things that I don't think that anyone will be outright complaining about the S5. So for me, I can absolutely assure you that in my opinion, yes, this car is the perfect family sports sedan. Once again, what do you guys think? Tell me in the comments down below so that we can have a small little discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, that was our review of the Audi S5 Sportback. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. Comment down below what you think about the S5 Sportback. Share this video as much as you can, and a subscribe to this channel would be outright amazing, because it gives me more motivation just to make more content just like this and share it with you guys. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the very next one. Thank you.